In order to draft an answer with AI.Law, first step, there's 5 simple steps here. First step is you upload the lawsuit from opposing counsel. So in this case, you can do a PDF. I have this already drafted as a Word document, so I'm just going to drag and drop it in here, but you can certainly do a PDF. The key is if you drop a PDF in here, not to include the exhibits. For one, it can just take an enormous amount of time to read through those, and every so often there's a glitch here and there with them, especially if they're very dense or poorly scanned PDF old, documents from a long period ago. Ultimately, answering a lawsuit doesn't require that you have include the exhibits anyway. Usually those are representation to validate specific allegations anyway. If you want them, you can include them in, but I would suggest that you not include the exhibits because we're going to be answering each individual allegation versus reading those exhibits, which don't really usually matter. This at least pertains to what we're looking at here because of the way the allegations are usually subsumed within the list of items. So upload your complaint. I'm going to click continue. And then what you'll do is you'll indicate admitted facts or denied facts. The reason why this is a written area here is because it's rather straightforward. What we want you to do is a broad picture, big picture, factual narrative versus getting into paragraph 1, 2, 3, 4, paragraph 85. We're going to take care of that for you. AI is going to take care of all that for you. What AI is concerned about right here is bigger picture. What's the situation? For example, this is a lawsuit about a buyer selling a seller because they learned later on that the property was contaminated. So if the defendant, the seller here, admits that there was an actual sales transaction and they sold the property, then that would be a reasonable thing to admit, right? I mean that transaction to sell property occurred between the parties. I always forget the R. Transaction to sell property, and if there's anything else that you'd like to add, let's say buyer conducted an environmental 1 study, because this is dealing with as I said, contaminated land. You can have this as long as you'd like or short as you'd like, but that's generally what we're looking for here. It's a bigger picture, what happened or what didn't happen. If you want to get into specific narrative, specific denied facts, you can type those in. You can either indicate legal doctrines if you want, but it's not necessary. Our AI will figure out the legal doctrines for you so long as you provide some general factual information. So I've already got this prepared here. Here's defendant's facts in response to the facts presented. Following points can be made on behalf to counter their claims and establish a defense. So these things are going to be page or show. So here, I'm going to highlight them. You're going to get generally no knowledge, chemical leaching, no actual knowledge. So this doesn't have to be strictly legalese. Again, this is factually big picture. What kind of things are denied, or your general story you can include. You just copy and paste and click continue. If you'd like to add sympathetic facts, these are facts about the defendant who's answering. This is answering a lawsuit that shows them in a good light, right? So maybe they're a model community leader. They've let's say won multiple awards for good citizenship and honesty in business transactions or something. Just throw that out there. These are things that maybe aren't specifically relevant to an element of a claim, but still would be helpful for a fact finder to understand about the parties, to give the parties a little bit of context who they are. For example, if plaintiff is a serial litigator, they are a serial litigator. What did I do? Litigator, and have lost every lawsuit they filed in the last 5 years alleging the same kind of thing against others, right? So that's a misgiving. That's all you need to answer a complaint, those things. What our system, what our AI is going to do, I'm going to turn on a timer here so you can get a sense for how long this takes. What our system will do is it's going to read the complaint, read all the factual allegations. It's going to read your responses, the defendant's responses, get an idea of who the plaintiff and the defendant are from what you've entered within this section. Then it's going to create the answer for you. It's going to provide a formatted document, just like you'd expect within federal court system. You'll have an answer to each one of the paragraphs, paragraph by paragraph, throughout the entire answer. And it will then include defenses and affirmative defenses that are both relevant and specific to the facts and the defenses you've entered in here. It's going to recognize legal doctrines to include, as well as recognize defenses and affirmative defenses that would normally be raised in this kind of lawsuit by others that are engaged within it. So it's going to give you a robust set of discovery responses that, if anything, you might be looking at removing a few versus adding a few, because this generally tends to be comprehensive. But after those are done, it's going to provide you a wherefore section, a demand section, where obviously you're going to ask that the defendant wins and plaintiff's claims are completely dismissed. So the document can be multiple pages long. If the longer the complaint is, the longer this is going to take. Obviously, if you've got a complaint that's 80 or 100 paragraphs long, spanning 20 pages, it's going to take longer than otherwise. But you do want to ultimately, once you receive it, read it. You want to make sure that this represents what you want it to say and the defenses and affirmative defenses that you want to bring or defend on, because ultimately our AI system is only going to be as good as the information you provide to it. It will make some regular general assumptions based on the information. For example, if you don't expressly say the sale occurred, but then you talk about the contents of the sale, it's going to assume the sale occurred. What we'll also do for each individual allegation, for each individual paragraph, you'll see it's not just a blank admit or deny, but rather it's reading the paragraph in the complaint and parsing it out in your answer so that you get an appropriate answer that's specific to the allegations. So here you go, 2 minutes, 35 seconds. Let's take a look, and I will show you what this looks like. Completely done. Here's our answer. Now, we're going to get the individual paragraphs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Going to go through each one. As I said, similarly to the complaints, we're not going to number the individual paragraphs because people tend to like to copy and paste these in to other formatting that they have. If you really want the numbers here, it is very easy. You're just going to select what you want and add a number, and then it's going to auto-populate in. If we add the numbers and you're working on a Mac or some other system, then it can get a little hairy, so we just leave those out and let you do those for yourself. So, as I said, each individual allegation, here's 16. There are conclusatory, speculative, require no response, the extent response is required, defendant denies, right? You've got a few of those things, but here we go, where we indicate contract was formed between the parties as alleged, but denies any implication defendant breached the contract or engaged in any wrongful conduct. So this is parsing things out. As you can see, as you would want a 5-year associate that is very detail-oriented to actually parse out each one of these paragraphs, that's what we're going to do with with this system here. So this is taking all 56 of these things before you get into the defenses, provide you what they are, assumption, environmental risk, lack of actual knowledge, and affirmative defenses, statute of limitations, statute of frauds appropriately, and then at the end, request for relief, standard that you win, they lose, and then you've got a jury demand at the end with certificate of service. Here, we did not indicate a lawyer on the complaint, so it's recognizing that the plaintiff as pro se, attorney for plaintiff, and you just change that to whatever it might be. But this is a 9-page eight and a half page with certificate of service answer, going through every single one of the allegations, responding to it in 2.5 minutes. Massive time saver for you. Even if you go through and you spend 10 minutes reviewing it, to have that pre-written for you, especially at such a detailed level, is a massive time saver for anybody who's looking at drafting an answer.